kitchen.
He is the music rotating on my harmonic axis. My piano teacher that has me playing love keys to keep him into practice. He is that song that I sing in my head, that heartbeat in your chest that comforts you in bed. He's keeping me heated like Venus, my 6'2" genius. He is the water quenching my thirst because I'm the one that he puts first. You make me feel away. You make me feel away. So in love with you, you don't ever lose. The things that I've been going through, it's all about you. He is the survival in the ocean he created just for me. We're swimming the waves of eternal love, just him and me. He is that rainbow that I wish would never leave. Those colors beaming into my brain, mesmerizing my love scene. He is the hero in the movie that rescues the lonely. He is my Al Green serenading me only. You make me feel away. You make me feel away. So in love with you, you don't ever lose. The things that I've been going through, it's all about you. It's all about you, all about you. It's all about you.
I do not own the rights to that music or that song, but I was given the permission to play it. That was Mrs. La Femme Nikita with Poetically Yours. You make me feel. Hoping that y'all had a great week. We have something very great for you today, so you do not want to change this channel. To accentuate your lips with a kissable touch of color, contact Yoli of Captivating Flaws. She has created the Flutter lipstick line to last all day and all night long. You can contact her at 210-409-6709 or captivatingflaws at gmail.com. It is kissable and it will not come off. I'm actually wearing one of her natural colors right now. Hopefully you like it. Just give her a holler, she'll deliver to you. For quality food and service, cook with love, right from the kitchen, by scratch. Contact Chef Tish at tishhomestyle at gmail.com or 210-414-7717. She'll have your homestyle meal delivered right to your front door. And as you see, I always order for her. She has not disappointed me, not one time. This time she was advertising the chicken and waffles. So I decided to try it. And I had pinched off the waffles and they're so good. And on the side of that, she also delivered some strawberries because I requested that. Thank you, Tish, so much. For clothing and casual homemade leather shoes to suit any occasion, fit in or be set apart with Samal Set Apart, located in North Star Mall, first floor across from the Disney store. Or contact Samal at 577 8877. They won't just have you set, but they will have you running for more. Now, as I promised y'all, we have a special guest here today from Baltimore, Maryland, is where he was born. He is a career coach and professional development mentor. He's also a graphic designer, from what I found out, and plays the guitar. So he's also into music, full of surprises. I now introduce to y'all Mr. Peter O'Neill Jr.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, hello. How you doing today?
Good. How about you?
I'm here. I'm doing great, just fabulous.
Good.
You ready for it?
Oh yeah, it's an honor to be here. So thank you for inviting me on.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, did I get it correct? You're from actually Baltimore, Maryland.
Yep, born and raised. Born and raised.
All right. What is the weather like up there?
It's right now we're getting ready to have a thunderstorm. So it's been
Oh
pretty
my.
rainy. Earlier in the week it was hot. Like Southern Baptist Church in the summer hot.
Oh, yeah, it's been pretty hot here. We've been running between 102 and 108. So
Ooh, ooh,
it's been too
ooh,
hot.
that's too hot.
I ain't got to go to work. I ain't coming outside. I stay at
Right.
home. Now, as a career coach and professional development mentor,
Mhm.
what is that about? Could you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
So in my career, I started off in information technology. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to work on computers and I just enjoyed helping people like my family members, and I got kind of good at it. So I wanted to pursue that as a career. I wound up in management for corporate IT management, and I
Okay.
like and I liked it. There's a lot of coaching and development that happens with your team,
Okay.
and uh, when you think about management, you think about telling people what to do and and
Yeah.
and, and making sure they get their job done. But the longer that folks are on your team, you want to start developing their skills, so helping them to get certifications, helping them to pursue other opportunities, and helping them to network within the organization.
Okay.
And I realized that a lot of that was missing in some of my circles. So, like my personal circles. So I started offering some of the same kind of coaching sessions that I would do at work with people to kind of help them, regardless of what career field they're in. A lot of the skills are career agnostic and translate over to different fields. And people seem to be receptive of it.
Wow. Wow. So tell us, what is your goal?
Oh man. Ooh, how much time we got? I would say if I had one goal, like if I had to just like sum it all up into a goal, my
Mhm.
goal would be to create long lasting wealth for my family and the generations to come. So that for me means property, it means something that can be transferred, something that my kids and grandkids and great grandkids possibly could have to be able to rest on. And in pursuit of that goal, there's a lot of things that I can do to help me achieve that.
Okay. Okay. Now you manage a small business and you're
Hmm.
also in leadership for a
Hmm.
small firm. What evolves around your business as well as the small firm?
So I work for a financial institution,
Okay.
and we do investing. We help people to basically invest for their retirement. So you go to your job and you get a 401k. We do 401k management. So the money that comes out of your check goes to uh, a company that manages those assets. And then I work in support of the IT operations that drive that machine. So I've been doing that now for 15 years, 16 years. I'm
Wow.
starting to fly by a little bit. And as far as my business is concerned, so I started off doing IT management outside, and then that kind of grew into coaching. So it's kind of morphed into more of a consulting business than anything else. If folks have IT issues or they have a small business and they need business to business services, I basically either will help them directly or point them in the right direction. And then I speak to uh, small groups. I talk to, like, I'll actually go to a business, and if they have the leadership team and they're trying to work through some issue, I'll either, kind of talk it through them, or talk through the issue with them, or talk to the group about some of the things that they can implement as a team. And then I talk at schools. Most recently, I spoke at University of Maryland, College Park, at the business school. And it was just a bunch of seniors. And they're like, "What's next?"
Wow. So you had
That,
attention.
that's always fun.
Yeah. Now, when you speak about we,
Mhm.
are you talking about your wife and you, or is she anywhere in that mix with you?
So my wife also works in IT, and it really just depends on the venue. Sometimes if we're doing a training, we'll do that together.
Okay. So,
A lot of the speaking engagements that I get are like one to many. So like when I went to the school, I did that by myself. But trainings, a lot of times we'll do them together.
okay. Now, together, what do you both bring to the table with the business world?
So I have a lot of management experience, and she has a lot of project experience.
Okay.
So when we're talking, she knows how to, and she's good. Like she's good. She's real good. She'll take a project from idea and work it all the way through to completion. So that means talking about what the problem is, identifying possible solutions to that problem, then looking at software and hardware options, talking to vendors, working out pricing, and then kind of massaging that through to being like a final solution.
Oh, okay. Now, you spoke that y'all both have a lot of experience in this field. Now, on your website, it included is a video that took place in Rochester, New York.
Hmm.
You know, I've been scoping, right?
Oh yeah, you've been scrolling. You're like, okay, what's he about?
Okay, now the video was about family.
Hmm.
What is the importance of family to you?
Family. So I have a really good family. My parents are still together, and that's a blessing. And I know I can always go back and talk to them, and they give me wisdom. And I say that not to insult them by making my next statement. Sometimes my wife and I will joke and play,
Right.
and we'll say we all we got. And family for me is my base, my foundation, right?
Mhm.
And when I'm out trying to work or trying to achieve a goal or work towards something, my family's always in the back of my mind, and I won't do anything if it doesn't benefit us together as a collective.
Wow, wow. Deep. I like that. I like that. Can you tell us how you came about doing all this that you do in helping others and why?
So I actually got started off talking about mental health in the very beginning. I started doing videos in 2015. I found myself in a place where I was depressed, and
Okay.
and the depression just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I isolated myself. This is before I got married, and I isolated myself in the house with the dog, and it was just a little rough period, and I struggled with a lot of different things. Alcoholism was one of them,
Okay.
and I talk about that on my channel, and I started recording videos.
Okay.
So one day I just kind of got tired of my situation. I was talking to my pastor because he was always checking on me. They would like knock on the door and
Mm.
call me and text me. And I'm very transparent about this time because a lot of people deal with things and feel like they're the only ones. So I
Right.
really try to be transparent about my own personal journey so that folks don't feel like they're by themselves. So I said to myself, okay, how can I get out of this funk?
Mm.
So I found a website and it said, you should say affirmations to yourself. So I was like, all right, there's nobody here. That's kind of cheesy, but I'll try it. No one will know if I do it. I can't
Now they
embarrass
know you do it.
myself. Right. So I woke up one morning and I just made something up. And I was like, I looked in the mirror and I was just like, all right, here it goes. My name's Pete O'Neill, and today I'm going to be the best man that I can be. And that's all I'm going to expect from myself is to do my best and be my best. And I did that every day for like maybe a month, maybe a little over a month. And I said, okay, well, this is interesting. I started noticing like a little change because I would remember that. So I'd go through my day and encounter a challenge or something, or somebody would make me mad. I'd be at work and I'm like, "Rrr," and I think, all right, I'm gonna be the best man I can be today. And those little affirmations, they kick in. I know that there's so many of them on the web, but the one I was saying worked for me. And so
Right.
I said, all right, well, I'm going to start recording videos whenever I feel inspired from myself. And then I'll go back and watch the video later. So I'm having a good moment one day and I'm like, hey, when you watch this, remember that things aren't always going to be bad or something like that, right? I put it in my
Right.
phone. Then like a day later, I'm in the the doldrums, and I go through my phone and there's the video and I'm like, all right, I'm talking to myself here, but it worked. So I said, maybe I'll start posting videos online. Maybe somebody else can use it. Maybe somebody else would enjoy that. And so I remember my first video, it was, just short. It was like 20 seconds long, something quick. I think I posted it to Instagram, and it was like, whatever you put out in the world is what you're going to get back. If you put out positivity, you'll get positivity back, right? Or something like that. And then people are just like, yeah. And I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting anybody to care. And it kind of just snowballed from there. And I wound up meeting my wife at the end of that year. And I told her like all my struggles and what I was going through. And she looked at me, she looked me dead in my eye. And she said, there's nothing wrong with you. You're a really nice guy. And I'd like to see you again. I was like, okay.
Wow.
So
Shout
that's
out
kind
to
of how that
Tab.
happened.
Yeah, shout out. Okay, you leverage video, audio,
Mhm,
radio, and podcast to educate in positivity and
mhm,
encouragement. But you also host Vision Mindset, a
mhm.
series about self-help and the promotion of oneself.
Yes.
Can you share with us what evolves with all this and what motivates you to stand out to where ones are drawing to you for this sort of exposure?
I think the first time I got a DM on Facebook,
Mhm,
I was in tears. Like, and men, I'm always tough all the time. Ha ha ha. Rah rah.
mhm,
But to come from a place where you are recovering from certain things
mhm.
and you're moving out of a space of being depressed, then you encounter somebody who is maybe where you were,
Right.
right? Even though you aren't far away from that place.
Peter? Okay, just a minute. He froze up for a
How
second.
can Oh,
There,
I think I dropped
there we
off
go.
there, huh?
There we go.
Welcome to Baltimore Internet. That's probably my fault because I've watched your videos and they don't do that.
Good, good.
So I was saying, when you see somebody who is where you were and they are trying to progress forward and they're looking at you and saying, okay, well, if this person did it, I can do it. And then you wind up reaching them where they are and touching them in a certain way, enough for them to message you and say, hey, I just wanted to shoot you a note. I'm going through this, I'm going through that. And what you said touched me.
Mhm.
Like I was just bawling, like your ugly cry where you make the ugly face and your
Yeah,
whole face is tore up.
I know that
Like
feeling. Good.
yeah, and it that's fuel for you. And you're like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna make more. And I found that when you are authentic, when you
Mhm,
come from a place of pure authenticity,
mhm.
people see that and they're attracted to it. It's not necessarily about me, it's not about me as the person. It's about this the shared struggle that a lot of us have, even though they might be different issues individually.
Right.
The fact that we're on this journey to try to be better and to improve, and people kind of latch on to that,
Mhm.
and that becomes something that they can say, okay, he's doing it, this person's doing it, and they go through the comments and they see other people are going through things and they're pressing forward, as they say, and it becomes kind of like this online community of, all right, no matter what I'm going through, it's not going to define me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know that feeling so, so well. I'm telling you, because I mean, it shocked me when I became, got into breaking my silence with domestic violence.
Hmm.
And it's like I would just put that off for the days up, and then I would take them down. it wasn't until I decided to deactivate my page where
Mm,
people was like, Spicy, where you at? We look to your posts every day to get us by. We need you to come back. And I was like, what? I didn't know that I was actually helping other people and people was drawing in because they know that I've been where they are.
right.
So it's a big help when you can actually reach out and help other people. Now, you're also a motion graphic designer.
That
can
was out of necessity.
can you fill us in on what all you offer to ones who possess a business as a sole proprietorship or performs podcasts? Because if you notice on Facebook, there's a
Mhm.
lot of scam artists out
There
there, and
are.
people do have to be careful on who they get in. Because I mean, I'm one guilty. I end up getting scammed as well, and it is hard to find one that's actually legit. So could you tell us that, what all you offer and everything?
So yeah, so my parents had a TV show when I was a kid, and that's how I got started in that realm. And they needed a graphic designed for a show. They just needed a spinning globe, and they had
Mhm.
no idea how to do it. And I was 14, and I said, okay, well maybe I can figure it out. And when you're that age, you don't have anything else to do except play video games.
Right.
So I just put some time into it and figured it out. And I said, well, that's cool. And they used it on TV, and that feeling of seeing it on television
Hmm.
was like it became addictive.
Wow.
So I just I just thirsted after knowledge after that, learning different programs, Adobe After Effects, Lightwave 3D, Poser. I could just go on 3D Studio, just playing with different things. I never
Mhm.
had any formal education. I always tell people that, like, did you go to school for graphic design? No, I did not. But having enough clients tell you this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Can you
Right.
tweak this? Can you tweak that? It's its own school. And after so many years, I mean, that was we're talking from the 90s until now, 97 until this year. Uh, you just learn a lot. And one thing that I like to do is help people with shows with their intros. So if you've got like a show like yours or
Mhm.
mine, somebody wants an intro for it, I do that. They'll bring me the music. I'll put everything together, show it to them if they like it, cool. And but it for me recently, it's just been a lot of necessity for myself because
Mhm.
graphic work is so expensive.
Right. Now,
Um,
when they get this graphic design done through
mhm.
you, they also will receive all the files to where they can use it the way they want to use it, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I think part of the scam to speak to what you were saying earlier,
Mhm.
a lot of what people do is they will do something for you and then only give you the end result, right?
Right.
And a lot of times that's not what you wanted, or you're like, why does that look like Nintendo level graphics? Like, what did you do that on?
Right.
But I'll give people the project file, I'll give them all the assets. So let's say you liked it, and but you want something else tweaked, or someone else that can do some other work to it, you can just take those project files. I don't, it's not gonna hurt my feelings, to
Mhm.
someone else, and they can continue the work.
Right.
It doesn't do me any good to have that stuff sitting on my computer and I'll never use it again. So I send everything, the MP4 or the movie file, and all
Mhm.
the 3D assets to go with it.
Okay. Okay. Now, you came from, I know I always use the phrase that, when I used to go back and forth with my mom,
Mhm.
and she would just say, oh, you got a smart mouth. And I'm like, well, I'm just a root. You're the seed. Now,
I like that. I like that.
now I know you have a seed that you
Mhm.
rooted from, and she also was in the spotlight. Could you tell us a
Yeah.
little about that?
So my mom was a character called Mrs. Alphabet,
Mhm.
and there was a show in the 90s called It's Kinder Time. It was a
Mhm.
kids show, and my mom did a geography minute every week on the show.
Okay.
So she would take kids to a different place around the world virtually, and a lot of inner city kids don't have the opportunity to travel.
Mhm.
So that was their way of seeing something outside of their neighborhood was on television. So
Okay.
she did that, and that was really inspiring. My dad was always behind the camera, but to see my mom get in front of the camera, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well maybe I can do that one day.
Wow. So it's great. You come from a family that supports one another.
Hmm.
That
Yep.
is fabulous.
I'm definitely blessed.
Oh wow. Now, before we go to a small interlude, um, I noticed something that
Hmm.
stood out on your Facebook page. And what I want to do is reverse that question.
Okay.
If you could change one thing in the world to make life better for all, what would it be?
To make life better for everybody.
Mhm. And so you put that question on your page for
I
everybody
did.
besides yourself.
I
So now
did.
I'm reversing that and I'm asking you.
You know what? If I could fix one thing,
Mhm.
the first thing that came to my mind was, sickness like COVID and things like that. But I would say poverty, because there's so much poverty,
Mhm.
especially abroad when you go to different places.
Right.
And like, I've been to Central America and seen people, you know, their facilities are a hole in the ground.
Right.
And if I could just lift everyone out of poverty and give them like things like basic plumbing and water, fresh water to drink, and food, I think that would be the thing. If I could snap like Thanos from Marvel, if I could just snap my fingers and it happened, I think that's what I would do. If I could snap twice, then I'd get rid of COVID the second time.
Oh, I do like you said. So we're gonna give us some shout outs. Hello, Miss Lovely Vibes. We have Miss Lovely Vibes that's tuning in. Thank you, dear. Maureen Sharp Rodriguez says, "Hey, Spicy, I sure miss you." Oh, I miss you too, Maureen. But my Tish, the one that delivered my food today. Hey, Tish, thank you for tuning in. Auntie Darling says, blessings. The same to you, my dear. Lisa Gigi, hey, lady, thank you for tuning in. Teresa Fuller, thank you, love, for tuning in so much. We got an small interlude. And what I'm going to bring to y'all today before we come back to discuss the topic about love's accepted baggage claim. I bring to you Unapologetic by Lala Marie.
Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So much love for you. You're beautiful. The way you got me feeling nothing usual. The chemistry between us I can't explain. I love the way you say my name. Unapologetic. I love everything about you, baby. No regrets. Unapologetic. I'm glad I took a chance and love is my heart. Unapologetic. You knew what you were doing when you first said hello. Acting all shy, talking to me like you're so bashful. So bashful. Ain't lying in the back of my mind. You were already mine. I left the world behind. You got me fantasizing, daydreaming, now I'm scheming how to keep your heart. You're super sexy, super bad, and you know it. Swagger on a million, you're the baddest in the building. You had my heart from the start, and ain't even know. Death at the funeral, boy, you be killing for you. You're beautiful. The way you got me feeling's nothing usual. The chemistry between us I can't explain. I love the way you say my name. Unapologetic. I love everything about you, baby. No regrets. Unapologetic. And I took the chance and love is my heart. Unapologetic. Who I am when I'm with you. Now a couple pose every time they take a picture. Click, click, flash. Pose for the camera. I know them haters bad cause they thought we wouldn't last. I'm going extra just to show you that you're special. I ain't tripping about no haters. Apply pressure. We brainstorming, that's a different type of weather. Whether or not we won't stop. We so much love for you. You're beautiful. beautiful. The way it got me feeling nothing usual. The chemistry between us I can't explain. I love the way you say my name, unapologetic. I love everything about you, baby, no regret. Unapologetic. I'm glad I took a chance and love is my heart. Unapologetic.
That's Lala Maria, unapologetic. And yes, I have permission to play these songs. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour, and we are here with Mr. Peter O'Neill. Now, as we know, Peter, the percentage of being a single mother has skyrocketed from over the years, and the rate of people getting married has plummeted. Because nowadays, a lot of people rather shack up or just be in a friends with the arrangement category. It appears that there's a higher amount of children than there is people that's in a committed relationship. Could you tell me how you feel about that and what are your thoughts?
I think that there are so many reasons why people find themselves in certain situations. I think you touched on a couple there. Uh, I agree. I think that there's a large percentage of children who are either with one parent, neither parent, maybe they're with grandparents, uh, in foster care. There are so many different situations and scenarios out there. I mean, you could almost stick 50 different kids in a room and they almost all come from, from different family backgrounds. I think that a lot of it, especially when you talk about the Black community, a lot of it has to do with uh, policies and things that have happened over the years and incarceration. I think that there's just so many different factors that play into it, and it's an important topic to talk about.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, we actually met on someone else's post.
In the comment section.
And the comment section, which consisted of a picture with a single woman and
Hmm.
5 kids.
Hmm.
The question was, would a man be willing to marry her? Out of the negative and judgmental comments, it was yours that stood out to me because it appeared that your belief directed in a sense of not just sincerity, but the reasoning of something from the heart and possibly experience.
Hmm.
Can you share with us the comment you posted in reference to the picture and why you had stated what you did?
Yep, I actually pulled it up, and you can still see me, correct?
Yes, I can see
Okay, I switched windows here. So the post, it had a woman with 5 kids, and the comment, cleans, is submissive because she learned the hard way, but wants marriage. Are you going? Question mark, question mark. And I, first of all, I kind of took offense to that photo and the caption there. I'm like, okay, well, that's a little that's a little demeaning. Uh, but I said I possibly would if I were single, but not for the reason stated in the photo. And I said that because no man should want to be with a woman just because she cooks or cleans or is submissive, whatever that means in reference to this photo. And I said, if I have a connection with a woman and she's sweet and wants a solid relationship, then I think that that's a good starting point.
Yes, I remember that. And I mean, I sit there and I sat back and I looked at the comments because you do find nowadays that a lot of men are criticizing women that do have a lot of kids. Some men do not want a woman with kids.
Hmm.
And it's kind of hard because some women they cannot help the situation that they're in to where
Right.
they end up raising the children by themselves. But at the same time, it makes them feel like, okay, I guess this is it for me because being I have children by somebody else, nobody's going to want me. Why do you think some men are reluctant in having a relationship that consumes kids, especially when it consists of more than just one child?
I think that the reasons could be plentiful. Uh, Given that I'm in, obviously, male circles,
Mhm.
I think a lot of guys are scared of commitment in general, right?
Yeah.
there's just this fear of commitment even when a woman doesn't have any children. When there are kids involved, there's this immense sense of responsibility that you have to take on, and I think a lot of guys aren't necessarily prepared for that.
Yeah.
I think I have seen guys that they just immediately have a negative perception without even understanding what that woman's situation might be, and they just immediately uh, think, okay, well, I'm not gonna go down that road.
Right.
And a lot of times the reasons are superficial. Sometimes guys have this very high self-awareness level where they'll say, well, I'm not ready. I don't have the maturity to deal with it. I still got
Right.
my own things I'm working on. And I respect that. You know, if you know
Right.
as a guy that you are just incapable of that, then please do that lady a favor and stay away.
Yeah.
But if it's for superficial reasons, you know, I think that that's unfair, to take stereotypes and things like that and place them on single moms, and
Right.
then use that as a reason to to not give them an opportunity in the dating field.
Exactly. We have Mr. Sin City, the real. Hello, hello. He said, hello, good people. He commented, he said, there are men as well that get the same treatment as women do. They have kids and single fathers, and the women won't date them either. Now, that could be true. Could be
Mhm.
true. But, I know there have been times to where that's what attract a woman when she sees a man that's actually raising his children, because it shows that he has patience, he has a heart. When it comes down to children. Lovely Vibe says, I think men and women automatically think drama if a man or woman have children already, because that's how single people are stereotyped.
Mhm.
What do you think about that?
It is definitely a stereotype. I think that the media, and when I say media, I don't mean the news. I'm talking about Hollywood, films, dramas. Whenever you see someone in a relationship and there's kids involved and exes, there's always drama, and it plays well in film. I can think of a bunch of different films where and I hate this term, but the baby's mom pulls up and then you can hear her fussing before she even gets out the car, and that's not necessarily how real life is. But
Mhm.
if you've never been in an arena or dated a person with a kid, you might think you
Yes.
might think that that's how things are. And a lot of us paint our under like a lot of us will color some of our worldview based on what we observe on television and movies and things like that, and things that we hear from our friends,
Mhm.
rather than basing that on real life experience.
Right, right. Now, do you feel that some women who have kids are just only looking for a father figure for their children?
I don't think that they're, and this is just my perspective. Like I said,
Mhm.
there's a lot of different opinions and situations, and I'd
Mhm.
imagine if you got a bunch of ladies in a room, a lot of them would have different things to say, and I want to be respectful
Right.
of that. I think that what you just said is probably a component of
Mhm.
what a woman, I'd imagine, would want in a man, right? But I don't
Right,
think that is a driver. Like, it's out of necessity.
right.
I know a lot of, like, for example, my wife, when I met
Mhm.
her, she's got two kids,
Mhm.
and she wasn't looking for someone to come in and play dad per
Right.
se. She's working, she's in IT, she's got her own cash, she's got her
Mhm.
own place, got her own
Right.
transportation,
Mhm.
uh, and for people to, and I'm not saying that everybody makes this generalization, but when you generalize single moms to say, well, they're just looking for somebody to play daddy,
Mhm.
you you first of all, I think that's disrespectful, but you reduce that woman in that moment from whatever she is as a professional, as a creator, as someone who builds and contributes to society. You reduce her to nothing but a mom,
Yes.
and I think that that is that's a terrible way to look at it. And
Mhm.
so I try to educate guys when I talk to them. I'm like, hey, don't ever say, oh, she's just looking for somebody to play daddy. She might
Right.
want somebody who's willing to play daddy, but to say
Mhm.
that she's just looking for that, I think is inappropriate.
Right. Now, Maureen Sharp Rodriguez, she says most women who cannot have children look for men with children, but I do think it's the same for men. Sin City says a lot of women do look for good men for them and their kids. Single parenting is very hard. Yes, it is. I used to be there. Chris Brown says, "Hey, hey, baby." My son is on here. Lovely Vibe says, "I was a single mom and I didn't want or need anyone to play dad. I had my own. My children had nothing to do with me dating or loving a man." Sin City says, "But in those type of situations, the independence become an issue during the beginning growth stages of relationships." What do you think about that?
For me, and I'll use my relationship as an example. So, like I said, I'm a stepdad of two amazing young men.
Yeah.
They're great. I would say that because my wife had a certain level of independence,
Mhm.
her standard was high, right? So I couldn't come in with nonsense. And I respected that. There were a couple times where uh her and I didn't see eye to eye on something, and
Right.
she was like, "Well, you can go somewhere." And I'm like, I'm like, "Oh, really? That's how it is?" Um, I really appreciated that because I'm like, okay, you're expecting a certain standard, and you are going to make sure that I deliver that certain standard. And if I don't, you're out here. And
Right.
this was during the dating phase. We weren't married then. But she sat me down at one point and she schooled me. And she's like, I got these kids, and whatever you do, they're going to see that as an example. So
Right.
you really have to be operating at a high standard of excellence because you got four eyeballs that's trained squarely on you, and they're looking at me to say, okay, is this the kind of man that our mom is going to bring home and date?
Mm.
And I remember our third date, I went to go drop her off in front of her condo, and our oldest, he had come down to go see what was going on. And
Right.
he was 9 going on 10 at the time, and he had come out in his little shorts and his t-shirt, and he wanted to see what was happening. And she promptly sent him back upstairs, but his curiosity was that strong that he came down there to see what he was looking out the window. He came out to see what was going on. And it's a journey, but as a man, you have to be willing, if you're going to step into a situation like that, to look at the road, look at the journey, try to think about, you can't anticipate it all. Like you think you can anticipate what it's like, just being a dad in general, but to step into a situation where you say, okay, no matter what it is that's waiting for me, that we're going to tackle this together, and I'm going to stick with this because this is what I signed up for at the end of the day.
Right.
And it gets rewarding. I forgot who you said made the comment in the beginning. Yeah, it could be a little bumpy at first.
Yeah.
And a lot of relationships are bumpy in the beginning because you're figuring each other out.
I think
But
that was Sin City that said it's not easy, and it isn't easy.
yeah.
So also I gotta address this because Miss Lovely had chicken and dumplings from Miss Chef Chish, and I seen the pictures, and you have a lot of nerve. You didn't say me none, but girlfriend, look at this. Oh God, don't it look good? Yeah, look
Mm.
at the waffle, and on top of it, I got the strawberries. Watch
I like how you did that.
it. I love you, girl. I love you. Sin City says facts. You can motivate others to elevate higher levels. Chris Brown says, I love this topic. I'm a stepdad to the love of my life's children. I have no problem with it. Lovely vibes. Laugh out loud. That was me. You are more protective of your children if you are a single parent. Yeah, you tend to be more protective. I found myself like that too. Sin City said, "You guys are their fathers, not stepdaddies. Fathers. My family is blended, and they are all of ours." You know what? That's one thing
Mhm,
I do say. I don't like the title stepfather. In my opinion, that was a man that stepped up to be a father.
mhm,
You know, because if he's there and he's helping provide for the children, he's helping to instill the basic skills and the foundation. He's a father. We're not excluding that these kids got a biological dad,
mhm.
but stepdad, no, he's being a father. Thank you, Sin. Um, Sin, Sin City, I'm gonna get you. Talking about ill. The strawberries are good, and it's a lemon pepper. Thank you very much. And Sin City says something's up with these chicken and waffles are mixing very well. Thank you, bro. I'm not gonna play with you with my chicken and waffles and strawberries.
That's just plate envy. They just jealous. That's all that is.
I love them to death. Love says you wrong, spicy Craig. Scorpios supposed to stick together. Oh, you know I got your back, girlfriend. You know that. I got you. There we go to the next one. Let me see where I would have. They got me tickled over here. Okay, okay, here we go. She got me so off the chain. Now, okay, do you think, even based on those negative comments from the post, could place single mothers in the position of feeling no man would want them because of the amount of kids she has in her life, and why?
I think that it doesn't take much. If you're already in a challenging situation,
Mhm.
it's difficult then to see things like that, right?
Right.
And I think there was even someone that alluded to what you just said, that commented, that
Mhm.
said that she has trouble dating, and she's got, I think she actually said she had 5 kids. And there's a lot that goes into that. Unfortunately, a lot of a lot of guys have also grown up without father figures.
Right.
There are a lot of homes where the father is absent for many different reasons,
Right.
right? So some of those reasons were outside of the father's control.
Mhm.
And you know it's a lot for a young man to grow up without a great example in the home. And there are situations where granddads step in and uncles step in. And our community does a really good job of being a village for kids. They say it takes a village to raise a child. So
Yeah.
there's that. But in some homes there just isn't an example. And so then you get guys, and they grow up, and then they don't know what to emulate. They don't know how to perceive things that they see relationship wise. They don't necessarily have the interpersonal skills to be able to love a woman properly, and on top of that, to be able to love kids. Because let me tell you, like, you have to build a relationship with these kids. And my sons, we do things together, and we're learning each other. And I told them in the beginning, they were young. Our oldest is 14 now. The 9-year-old that came down the steps, he's 14 now. And our younger son is 10. And I told them, I said, you know what, guys, this is a two-way street.
Right.
I'm learning you, and you're learning me.
Right.
I'm starting to trust you, and you're learning to trust me. And
Mhm.
every time we make progress, that's a win. I told them that. And I said, if I ever say anything or do anything that you guys don't agree with or you don't appreciate, let me know. And we
Right.
have a lot of open dialogue. And I tell them every day I love them. And it was hard for my oldest in the beginning,
Mhm.
but I think he looks for it.
Right.
If I don't tell him I love him and give him a hug, he's kind of looking like, what's wrong with you today?
Right. Right.
But that's important because men, sometimes we have trouble expressing ourselves. Even me, I'm talkative. I get on shows and podcasts and things like that. But at the end of the day, sometimes my wife just still has to pull stuff out of me, because a lot of guys, we just don't do
Okay.
that.
Yes. Yes.
And for me, I've learned with our kids that I need them to be able to know how to love, so that when they get older and they meet somebody and they
Mhm.
fall in love, whether the woman that they meet has kids or doesn't, that they know how to properly give what they have in here, what they feel, they know how to properly give that out to the people in their household.
Right, right. Now, if y'all have any questions or comments and y'all would like to call in, please dial 512-668-2814. We are right here on live where you can ask Mr. Peter O'Neill some questions or make a comment. You're more than welcome to call in. Lovely Vibes came in and says, look, it doesn't matter how many children a man or woman has. What matters is how they love and take care of their children. And you, if you become their man, you have to know what she has been through and how she got to be a single mother.
Mm,
Single parents doesn't mean bad or you going to have to take care of my kids. It just means you take You take is all or none. You love us all or none. I like the way she put that. City the Real says that's because we were not taught to be that sensitive. We have no, we have to relearn certain traits. Having little girls will expedite that as well. Trust me. Laugh out loud. And I'm gonna tell you, I mean, I used to feel the same way. Um, when I got divorced in 2003, at the time I only had two children. I ended up having another child, and I became a single parent, and it was extremely hard. And the one thing that my ex husband would tell me is that nobody would want you with these kids.
Mm,
You would not find anybody else. You're going to fail. And it's sad, but I began to believe that. And I
wow.
had to learn and see for myself that no, these words, I'm gonna use them as a weapon to fight through. There is somebody out there for me. There is somebody that would love me for me, whether I and my kids are not. And I'm gonna tell you, I was raising these three kids on my own, and there was actually men that was willing to step up to be there and take care of me and my children. So there are men out there that's willing to that, that is in there for the long run and to love that person for them along with their baggage.
That's abusive to say something like that to someone.
Well, he was an abuser, so it doesn't surprise me what he said. So
That's
the only
that's
thing
that's
now
wild.
is that I became to the position to where, he can't hurt me.
Hmm.
Everything he says, and that's sad because it was actually two ex abusers. They thought that the words would always hurt me. And when it got to the place to where I was able to say, I forgive you for the abuse, I forgive you for everything, and say, I am not what you say I am.
Hmm.
I am a beautiful person. I am strong. I am intelligent. You know, so at that point, one I'm trying to retaliate in a response and say, well, you're still stupid. You're dumb. And I'm like, I'm stupid and I'm dumb. I said, okay. I got 4 awards on a published book. So I said, I'm speaking in the courtrooms in front of a panel of judge
Mm,
and press conferences in front of the district attorney, in
mm.
front of the chief of police. Oh, but I'm dumb. You know, he couldn't say nothing else negative anymore. He
There's
just,
nothing to say.
no, because you can't hurt me no more. I got thick
Mm-mm.
skin now.
Wow.
So, um, do you feel a man can actually be beneficial in children's life as well as the woman's? If so, how?
I think so. I think there's, and I'm not trying to play both sides of the coin, but I think that benefit goes both ways. So I'll start with answering the first part, and then I'll give my little amendment at the end.
Okay.
I I think that I know, like in my home, I bring different skill set, different set of experiences, uh, to to that nucleus that existed before me, like photography. And my youngest son loves photography,
Oh
and so
wow.
that's something that he and I can go out and do together. So we'll
Mm,
grab a camera, go to the park. We did that 3 weeks ago. We went to the park, taking pictures of birds, people going by, taking abstract photos of the trees and the playground and things like that, showing him
right.
how to set his exposure, teaching him what aperture is and shutter speed and things like that.
Right.
And to be able to teach him that, if I hadn't married my wife, he wouldn't have had that at home. So I think that was just something that worked out well in that particular scenario. My oldest son, he's into video games and he wants to be a professional gamer,
Right.
which 10 years ago that field didn't exist, but it does now. And I said, okay, well, that's not something I do. So I had to take him down to Virginia, and there was a big tournament down there, and I wanted him to compete. We got him a little pro controller, and he practiced his Smash Brothers Nintendo game. And we drove down, got a hotel, and he, I think, made it to the second or third round of this tournament, and then got eliminated. And he was sad, but the value wasn't in the game part. The value is in all the conversation he and I had that night. talking
Right.
about what he was going to do next time and how he was going to get better and how it didn't mean that he was a failure and that he made it further than he probably would have if he hadn't been practicing, and maybe he could practice a little more. And can he come back and be in the league later? And so had it not been for COVID, we would have gone back again this year.
Right.
And I think that when you step in, especially when you have boys, uh, you're able to then give them a little extra something. And my wife said to me last year, she said, look, I got them to this point. She's like, there's some stuff that I need you to teach them. And she's like, I'm just going to kind of be hands off and let you do your thing. And that was a huge compliment for me, because I'm like, okay, we're married, you married me, but you trust me. Like, you trust me with them. And I need to make sure that I do right by these two young men, because when they get older, hopefully I'll still be here as an old man. But if I'm long gone, what are they going to be putting into other young people? What I put into them is going to be so important because of what they're going to pass on. So I think when a man steps into a relationship where there's kids involved, if his heart is in the right place, if his intentions are in the right place,
Mhm.
if his desires are in the right place, then I think that is going to translate over to the kids, and it's going to be a benefit for them. For
Wow.
me, having to step into that role leveled up my responsibility, because as a bachelor, I'm like, I'll throw my socks over here, I'll throw my shoes over here, I don't care. The
Mhm.
dog and I are going to eat, burgers tonight. Like, we just did whatever we wanted. But now I have to remember I'm an example for somebody. So
Right.
coming in the house, I'm like, okay, let me hang my shirt up. Let me make sure that they see me flirting with their mom. I make sure sometimes I'm flirting with her, and I'm like, I make sure that they're looking, and then I flirt, because I
Right.
need them to see that.
Right. Right.
But the whole experience has got me thinking more like a responsible adult instead of the way I was thinking before. So they've schooled me just as much as I think I have helped provide a benefit to them.
Wow. Wow. Well, before we go to another interlude, we're going to bring on another newly released CD, the one that's making a comment about my chicken and waffles.
Uh-oh.
Yes, she has a newly CD that just been released. It's available on all platforms, and we're going to play her during our interlude right now. Is titled "Within My Soul" by Lovely.
Six years old, destined to be a queen. What he stole from you was a priceless thing. Scared, embarrassed, confusion took over your mind. Your body is your temple. He had no right. Childhood taken, you couldn't cry out. No one would listen to what comes out of a babe's mouth. Children were to be seen, never heard. Was this your fault? Boy, how that hurt. Nightmares, dreams of killing yourself. Scrubbing your skin so hard, you develop physical scars. Wondering what people would think. Feelings of loneliness. Slowly you began to sink. Out of sight, out of mind. Thinking no one could love you. You hated yourself. Beauty was a trap. Someone please help. Shut yourself off from the rest of the population. Worthless, dirty. You needed some help. Was this real? Did my mind make it up? If that was true, how'd I conjure this pain? Head to the ground, eyes at your feet. Walk really fast, they won't see me. Constantly feeling under attack. Eye contact, what's that? As you aged, you got even more beautiful. Your body filled out, your mind so intellectual. What he did never died a day. Men took advantage, abuse, mentally, emotionally, rape. She's a jewel, so precious and rare. Pain made her strong. Fire filled her air. One day she began to see how light moved beneath her feet. She pushed back her shoulders, chin elevated. Finally, she realized she could survive. Beat all the odds despite her past, destined to be a queen here at last.
That was Miss Lovely from
That was deep.
Poetry Corner. Congratulations, my Scorpio queen. Much love. You did a great, great job. I love it. I love it.
That was deep.
It was really deep, really deep. I'm gonna have to have her back on here so we could talk about the CD that's been released. That's my girl right there. Congratulations again. We love you. Also, if y'all want to download the CD, she's available on all platforms on a YouTube, Spotify, getting tongue twisted, Apple Music. Look her up. By the comments from that post, do you think it could place some women in the position of feeling being single, a single mother, that there's no man who would accept or love her as well as the baggage she carries?
Whoo. That's a really good question. I think that I think that yes, I think it can affect your perception of yourself.
Mhm.
I think that all the things that affect how we view ourselves, um, our feelings of self worth. There's a spectrum there, and even some people that seem like they got it all going on, and like nothing bothers them deep inside, they've just learned how to wall it off from the world, and secretly sometimes they're hurting.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's hard to read comments like that and not be affected by it. It's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
difficult, and I wouldn't fault anybody that reads something like that, especially when there's so much of it. It's not like it was just one or two comments. It was
Right.
comment after comment after comment after comment after comment, and after a
Right.
while, you think, "Is this a trend?"
Right.
So I think that it's easy to find yourself in a place of discouragement when you see those types of comments just repeated over and over and over again.
Right.
If I had to offer some encouragement to anyone who is feeling like that, if you're listening now, other people's views of you don't affect your worth.
Mm.
Your worth is not based on the assumptions and the stereotypes of others. And once you get to a point where you begin to accept that,
Mm.
you find yourself impervious to negativity. And I'm not saying that I've reached that point fully myself, but the more you really practice that, to say, you know what, and it's more than sticks and stones will break my bones kind of thing, because
Mm.
words do hurt, but
Yes, I do.
online people tend to say things just to be mean. They feel
Yes.
emboldened, they become keyboard commanders, and they just say the things that they want. I would imagine that a lot of those same guys making those comments are out here planting babies everywhere they go.
Mm.
And a lot of times it's a double standard. And I'll say this too: when women have kids, it's obvious. A man could plant baby after baby after baby after baby after baby after baby, and no one would know. You could have 100 women pregnant out here, and nobody would know. There's rumor mill would be going crazy, but there's nothing on you to show. You don't get pregnant. You don't have a baby bump. You're not walking out here with just, your stomach poked out and your back's hurting because you're carrying, a baby and it's month 8. Women, when you have a child, you can't hide the child. From the moment you start showing to the moment you're pushing a stroller around, you can't hide that. Whereas a
Mhm.
lot of guys, they'll hide the fact that they have kids. I know someone in particular who's not in my circle, and I have no problem saying this because I don't like this kind of behavior. But he got married,
Mm.
and he disclosed 3 out of 4 of his children, and his wife found out sometime later. They married, 5, 6, 7 years, And a lady calls her up and says, "Yeah, you know, hey." And girl's like, "Oh, who are you?" "Oh, I'm, your husband's, baby mom or whatever." And she's like, "Well, I don't know." And he's like, "Oh, he didn't tell you about such and such. That's his kid." And she's thinking that the woman's lying to her. Come to find out, it's true. And her husband's like, "Yeah, I have four." What? What? So men, in a lot of situations, will do a really good job of kind of putting up a smokescreen and saying, "Yeah, I look good. You know, I got it together. I got a nice car. I got a nice
Right.
place, and I don't want no single mom." Okay, but you got kids. So really, I think that if men were a lot more transparent about what they bring or what they don't bring, I
Mhm.
think a lot of single moms wouldn't feel the way they did. Like, okay, I have this stigma around me, but you know what? It takes two to tango. So
Exactly.
for every lady that's got a kid, there's a guy to help her get there.
Right. True, true. Do you feel that some men shy from a relationship that consists of kids because they don't want to deal with drama from the baby daddy of those children, don't want the responsibility behind the children, or because the mere concept that the children are not of their blood?
I think it could be one or all. I think it
Mhm.
depends on the situation. I've met some ladies who they had to get away from just a crazy person. They
Right.
had a kid with them, and it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The guy was all nice and smooth in the beginning. Hey, girl, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then later on, he turned out to either be violent or to be into illegal activities or some other, crazy thing. And the
Mhm.
woman has to get away. If you're a guy and you find out that this woman that you're falling in love with has a child
Mhm.
with Ray Ray from down the block,
Right, right.
and Ray Ray's into some stuff, and Ray Ray's cray cray,
Mhm.
you might think twice. I mean, you know, there's always going to be situations like that. I think,
Right,
I
right.
think, I think some guys don't know how to love properly,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot of effort to build up a "I love you" relationship with a child that belongs to somebody that you're dating.
Right.
But the rewards, when you get to that point, the rewards are just so great after that. It's like, okay, this was worth the work.
Right.
Work, we do work because we want to get to an end result, right?
Right.
Whether it's, building a table, a shed in the backyard, or building a relationship. And you put
Right.
in that work because at the end when you're done, you can stand back and say, yeah, that's nice.
Mhm. Yep, yep. Just feel proud. Just proud. Now, I'm gonna ask this next question, and then we're gonna go ahead and allow you to share with everybody how they can contact you on
Okay.
any of the gifts that you possess, and look you up and follow you. Um, we also that we are gonna be playing one more piece from Lovely Miss Lovely on behalf of Sin City Music Group. So y'all want to stand by on this question here. I want you to really, really think. Do you feel women are more accepting of men with children than men are with women and children?
Yes. Yes,
Why?
I do. I think women have a higher sense of emotional maturity in a lot of cases than men do. So, guys, forgive me. I'm sorry. Apologies. I'm not looking at the comments, but don't come after me too hard. Apologies. Apologies. Um, Women just have this sense of family, unity, love, uh,
Forgiveness.
forgiveness, creation. Women produce. You give I'll give my wife some groceries
Mhm.
and she'll feed us for like a week. I've seen my wife make like a whole meal, and I'm like, "Where'd that come from?" "What was some food in the fridge?" I just looked in there and there was nothing. "Where did you get this from?" "It was in there." So with family, you give a woman some kids, and they're gonna give you just a home full of love and memories
Right.
and happiness. And I
Right.
think women will look at a man that has kids and see potential there. Sometimes men look at women with kids and see liability. And if we could get both sides to look and see potential and see love and see family and home, I think our community would be in a better place. And
Yeah.
if I would say anything to the guys, looking directly at the camera, fellas, give her a chance. You know, you would be surprised if you're falling in love with the woman and she's got all the qualities you want. I guarantee you she's putting some of those same qualities into her kids, and you will see her reflected twice, three times, four times over in her children. And you'll find yourself looking at the kids and seeing your wife or seeing your girlfriend in them, and it is worth the journey.
Yes, yes. I appreciate that. This has been really interesting. You got a lot of people getting involved. I do. I truly do appreciate and very flattered you accepted my request on the comic area.
I was honored. I was like, okay, yeah, let's get it in. Let's do this. Let's do
Let's
this.
do this. Yeah, I'm hoping to bring you back during October Domestic Violence Month.
I would be thrilled.
Thank you, thank you. We will be doing something in October for Domestic Violence Month every week of the month. So, in tribute of that and trying to break the silence, the chain, and cycle of abuse.
Yeah.
Um, Before I leave out the room to let you share something with the viewers, as well as telling them where they can find you and follow you, um, I want to say that, there's generations have changed.
Mhm.
And I know I look at different areas and it does hurt because you look at, okay, what happened to the value and the principle behind being married? Instead of just shacking up, still just sleeping with one another, and then be like, okay, she got kids or he got kids, I'm out. Because you do, just like Sin City said, there are men that also have a lot of kids that they're raising,
Mhm.
whether the mother passed or whether they, end up getting custody of the children. You do have men that's also in a situation, to where it is hard,
Yeah.
raising children. And then, one thing that people need to realize, it's not just on one behalf that it's the one that wants to be reluctant and get into a relationship. But as mothers and fathers, we also, it's hard for us to be able to open that door in acceptance to bring in that addition in front of our children to be
Mhm.
a family. So I mean, it's a heavy weight on both ends.
Yeah.
You know, I do wish you the best. I'm gonna let you leave the room for a minute and allow you to share, a word, otherwise with the viewer, but also letting them know where they can follow and find you. And to lead us out will be on behalf of Sin City Music Group presenting Lovely. We will bring to y'all Butterflies. So now we're going to leave the room and allow Mr. O'Neill to share his word with you.
So yeah, I would just like to continue to encourage everyone, and I'd even say encourage you beyond the subject matter that we were talking about. Uh, we're dealing with COVID. Everything's uncertain. Everybody's dealing with a certain level of adversity in some way, and there's no way you could touch every topic, every situation, everything. But as my grandmama used to say, and I'm pretty sure y'all heard it, trouble don't last always. And at some point, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through the situation that we're in. The way that things are in your life doesn't necessarily have to stay that way. And the power to be able to change our situation for the better, the power to be able to move forward, to create the things that we want, to build the life that we really dream about having, that power is within us and it belongs to us. And when you use the word belong, it's ownership. And when you take ownership of the abilities that you have and you take ownership of your ability to create something and to build, there's no limit to what you can do. So I hope that that encourages someone. If there's a business you wanted to start, if there's some venture you wanted to do, if there's an album or music or a song you wanted to write or create, go do that. A lot of us are in self quarantine, we're in self isolation, we're home, there's stay at home orders. Now's the time to really start crafting out your future. What do you want that to look like? If you're a single parent and you want to date, what's the next step? What's the next level? What do you have to do? How do I get there? And that's what I want to leave you guys with. I hope you guys all find love and feel love somewhere in your lives. And if you want to follow me, you can visit me at peteroneal.com. spelled Peter and then O'Neill. You can see ONEAL.com. There's a web form there. And just fill out the web form if you want to reach me. It goes to my email. And then Facebook, I'm facebook.com/Pete O'Neill Jr., spelled just like it is on the little caption right there. So just facebook.com/Pete O'Neill Jr. without the apostrophe. And you can hit the follow button and we can connect. I'm always posting content, always got things going on. And so that's it. I appreciate all the love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all, we're going to let Miss Lovely take us out today. Tune in next Thursday, July the 30th, 7 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. EST, for a live interview with Mrs. Rosalie Davis, owner of Envy Zion. I know I'm messing up the name. She'll get me later. Incorporated. Topic: your hair is the crown and your body's the armor. So tune in next week. Here is Miss Lovely with Butterfly.
Fly, little butterfly, be free. Do not allow this world to weigh you down wing by wing. Take flight and never look back again. Transform from a slithering caterpillar to a magnificent wonder. Although it wasn't an easy road, and some spots were rough, you survived and waited patiently in that cocoon. While your other friends seemed to flourish, transform quicker, you watched and waited until your day came. Now it's your time to shine, and you still humble yourself. More beautiful than before and wise as ever. Explore the world while you still have time, and never allow anyone to hold you back. Keep your head held proud and fly on that straight path.
That is Miss Lovely with Butterflies. You can find her and download her music on all platforms. Look her up on Facebook under Lovely Vibes. The owner of J. Shanice Poetry Corner. We thank you, Miss Lovely, for giving us permission to play that. Y'all look her up, download that music, enjoy. As you see, she got it going on. She is fire. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. God bless you.
My pleasure.
And I will be talking to you in October for the
Definitely.
next month. You have a very good week.
You
And
too.
for those that be contacting me, I will be going in for a back procedure tomorrow. So I will be out for a minute. I will be back up in operating motion, hopefully by Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you want to give me a contact, just contact me then, or you can contact my son and he'll be able to answer your questions. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour. See y'all next week at 7 p.m. Much love.